You're mid-conversation, nothing intense, just talking. And then something lands wrong. It's quick. A comment, a tone, maybe the way they said your name. Not enough to stop the conversation, but enough that you feel it immediately. There's a split second where your attention shifts. You register it. You start to process it. And before you can decide what to do with it, they keep going. Same pace, same tone, same expression. No pause, no acknowledgement. They might even ask you a question right after, or laugh, or continue the story like nothing changed. And now you're slightly off balance because something just happened, but they're behaving like it didn't. This isn't someone just being rude and moving on. It's a moment of disrespect followed by an immediate return to normal behavior. No transition, no shift, just a clean continuation. And that continuation matters because it quietly defines how the moment is supposed to be interpreted. If they don't treat it like a problem, then bringing it up starts to feel like you're creating one. So the interaction moves forward, but part of it never gets acknowledged. The key part of this pattern isn't the comment itself, it's what happens immediately after. When something lands wrong, there's usually a natural pause and a space where the moment becomes real. That's where someone might ask, "What did you mean by that?" Or where the other person adjusts, clarifies, or softens what they said. But in this pattern, that pause never happens. It gets skipped. And skipping that pause does something very specific. It removes the moment from shared awareness. The comment still happened, you still felt it, but it never became part of the interaction. And once something isn't shared, it becomes harder to challenge. So the conversation continues on the surface, while the moment stays with you. This is where the confusion starts, because now you're holding two things at once. There's the conversation that's still moving forward, and then there's the moment that didn't get resolved. You're still thinking, wait, what was that? But they've already moved on. So responding means interrupting the flow, and that creates hesitation. Not because the moment didn't matter, but because the structure of the interaction made it harder to address in real time. From the other side, acting normal serves a function. It keeps control of the interaction. By continuing without pause, they set the pace. They decide what counts as part of the interaction, what gets acknowledged, what gets ignored, and if nothing gets acknowledged, nothing needs to be explained. No correction, no adjustment, and no accountability. Just forward movement. And most people follow forward movement automatically. People tend to respond to what's happening now, not what just happened. So when the conversation moves forward, attention follows it. Not because the earlier moment didn't matter, but because it's no longer active. And anything that isn't active becomes harder to address without stopping everything else. So the moment gets left behind, even though it's still there. After something like this, the interaction feels slightly different. Even if everything sounds normal, you might respond more carefully. You might monitor your tone. You might become more aware of how you're coming across. Not in an obvious way, just enough that your behavior adjusts. That's the effect of an unacknowledged moment. It doesn't always create conflict, but it changes how you move inside the conversation. Because part of your attention is no longer on what's being said, it's on managing the interaction itself. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. There's no tension, no argument, no visible shift. Just a smooth conversation. But smooth doesn't always mean stable. Sometimes it means something was skipped. And when something gets skipped, it doesn't disappear. It just leaves the shared space and stays with the person who noticed it. So, when someone acts normal after disrespecting you, the interaction doesn't reset. It just keeps moving. And once it moves, the moment becomes yours to carry, not something shared. That's why responding feels delayed. Not because it didn't matter, but because it was already left behind.